Greetings, ones and ones. Here again to share my proceeds, our proceeds. And my name is Elochukwu Sankofa Ezioku Desavan, also known as Cleon George Parr. I'm here in urban area, so you're gonna hear cars and you can hear birds too and other things. I have a title. The title for this message is More or Less Stations. It's an interesting title that came to me just now, and it has to do with having a balance, having equilibrium, and seeing the glass half empty or seeing it half full, or having a balance and or having equilibrium and seeing it for what it is, which is being in reality. So there are more or less stations that are out of sync with reality, and there are more or less stations that are in illusion. Because when you see it for more than what it is, you are in an illusion. When you see it for less than what it is, you are in an illusion. And as such, you are stationed in a place of illusion. Now, having more or less stations means that you have a trauma, or you have traumas leading to sway your perspective, your perception, to be in a place of more or being a place of lack, being in a place of more or being in a place of less. So this is more or less the understanding that when you have trauma, you are going to be in. Now these traumas hit on a very impactful and pertinent topic in these times as we talk about more or less stations, which is a play on words when you look at molestation, because molestations happens as a result of traumas, and these molestations cause a lack of balance, equilibrium within the human being that causes the human being to exhibit actions that are out of sync with divinity. And these actions are traumatic because they induce trauma into others. And in this season of Cancer, in this season of Nekbet, in this season of family, it heightens the trauma that is within families. And I'm going to go into a trauma that I myself have been induced with, which is a molestation that occurred in my family when I was 2+ years old. As I have said in a previous video, I was induced with trauma, and being induced with that trauma led to me developing schizophrenia. In developing schizophrenia, it led to the breaking of my mind, and in the breaking of my mind, gave me the opportunity to see how broken I was and to do something about the broken state that I was in. As I went through that recovery process, it led to me uncovering memories of how it is that I am here as a being in this human suit, having this human experience as a spiritual being. Just now I said the word recovery, and the world uses this word recovery to mean gaining your health. And phonetically, as Rasta, I saw something when you say recovery, because when you're recovering, if you have trauma, that is not a good thing, because you're recovering the trauma that you have. You've covered your trauma and now you're recovering that trauma. So in that sense, phonetically speaking, you can detect that the energy coming through that word recovery is a misappropriation. You're telling yourself that you're gaining health when in actuality you're hiding from the health that you can gain, having sympathy on yourself to not do what it is that you must do in order to actually have health, which is to expose your trauma. To have health, you must expose your trauma because you've hidden it. You've hid it. So when you say the word recovery, be mindful that you could be recovering your trauma as opposed to recovering and having health, which is, in that sense of using the word recovering, it is to hold in mind that I'm going to go forward and correct myself. I would not use that word having the understanding, understanding, overstanding that I have to express myself as a means of gaining health. I'm going to say uncovering. So in the process of being broken, in the process of being shattered. See, there again, and I'm not going to, okay, I will go into. Because when you say in the process of being broken, it lends my ear to the untruth that I am broken. I am never broken. I am perceiving brokenness, but I would never attach I am broken. I would never attach a negative untruth to my I am. So in my practice of self-uncovering, there are certain things I do not attach. I do not attach untruth to my I am. So I do not say I am broken. I do not say I am sick. I do not say I am broke. To do that is to invite evil unto myself, because I am love, I am light, I am truth, I am beauty, I am goodness. That is how I maintain balance and have equilibrium to not be in a more or less station. So, going forward to the correction that I'm making is, as I uncover the shattering that took place from the induction of the trauma into my soul that led to schizophrenia, which is the shattering recognition. And as I'm aware now of the shattering, I am putting back the pieces together to have a wholesome experience. And in putting back the pieces together, I'm highlighting the story that we as human beings have a soul, and in having that soul has memory of it being led by its own spirit, who is in spirit as the great I am. And in so, that great I am has the instructions that we all came here as spiritual beings to have this earthly experience as human beings. So we're spiritual beings having a human experience. And to not hold the truth of that within your being, you're going to be more or less in a station of imbalance. That is the message of more or less stations causing imbalances, causing ones and ones to be out of balance, out of equilibrium. And in those more or less stations, you will cause trauma to others as you yourself have agreed to the trauma that you have. And when you do not put yourself in awareness of those traumas that you have, you are going to induce further those traumas into others. And a way that we have to say it as human beings is to say that we cause molestations in others. I am Elochukwu Sankofa Ezioku Desavan, also known as Cleon George Carr. Ashe. Okay, I have resistance. Be reminded that I am a schizophrenic person. And as I am a schizophrenic person, I am free from the insults of trauma. Because even in the insults that would be hurled at me, my ego, in protecting me, says that I'm crazier than you. Now, I correct that ego in truth, with the truth that none of us are crazier than any of us. If one of us is crazy, we are all crazy. That is the absolute truth. Now, me being in love with myself, know that no one is crazy. Crazy is an ugly thing that is based in fear, false evidence appearing real, which is a common terminology to say it is based in evil. Again, my name is Elochukwu Sankofa Ezioku de Savant, also known as Cleon George Carr. Ashe.